How many of you out there have ever felt drained, exhausted, like no matter how much you give, it's never enough? You show up for people, you bend, you sacrifice, and at the end of the day, you feel empty. Ever had that gut feeling, that little voice inside that says, something's not right here, but you ignore it? You tell yourself, I'm just being nice. But let me ask you something, at what cost? See, there's a fine line between helping others and letting them take advantage of you. And some of you in this room, you've been crossing that line for far too long. You've been giving and giving and giving. But what are you getting in return? Exhaustion? Resentment? Feeling like you're never enough? Well, today, that stops. Right now, you're going to wake up. Right now, you're going to reclaim your power, because the first step to breaking free from being used is knowing your worth. When you finally see that your time, your energy, and your heart are valuable, everything changes. And today, we're going to change everything. Know your worth. Your worth is not measured by how much you do for others. It's not defined by how many people you please, how many sacrifices you make, or how much of yourself you give away. Yet so many people live as if their value is directly tied to their ability to serve, to bend, to accommodate. The truth is, your worth is inherent. It is not something you need to prove, earn, or justify. But here's the problem. Too many people don't recognize their own worth. They operate from a place of scarcity, believing that they must overextend themselves to be loved, accepted, or validated. They feel like they have to constantly give to be seen as worthy of respect. And when you don't recognize your own worth, you unconsciously allow others to treat you in ways that diminish you. You tolerate behaviors that drain your energy. You accept relationships that leave you feeling empty. You become someone who gives and gives, yet receives little in return. People who don't understand their worth often attract the wrong kind of people. Those who seek to take advantage, who look for givers to exploit. These people recognize your kindness, but they don't see it as a strength. They see it as an opportunity. They know you won't say no, that you'll always be there, always willing to sacrifice, always willing to put their needs before your own. And as long as you let it happen, they will continue to take. Knowing your worth means shifting your mindset. It means understanding that you are not defined by what you do for others. It means acknowledging that you deserve respect, love, and appreciation, not because of what you can give, but simply because of who you are. Your kindness is a gift, not a weakness. Your generosity is a strength, but it must be protected. When you truly know your worth, everything changes. You stop settling for relationships that drain you. You stop seeking validation from people who only take. You stop over-explaining yourself, apologizing for setting boundaries, or feeling guilty for prioritizing your own needs. You start valuing yourself in a way that demands respect from others. But this shift doesn't happen overnight. It requires deep self-reflection. It requires a willingness to look at the areas of your life where you have allowed yourself to be taken for granted. It means asking yourself tough questions. Where have I been undervaluing myself? In what relationships have I allowed myself to be mistreated? Why have I tolerated behaviors that make me feel unappreciated or used? Understanding your worth also means recognizing that not everyone deserves access to you. Just because someone asks for your time, energy, or emotional support doesn't mean you have to give it. You do not owe everyone a piece of yourself. The people who truly value you will never make you feel like you have to prove your worth. They will never take advantage of your kindness. They will appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. One of the biggest obstacles to knowing your worth is fear. Fear of disappointing others, fear of rejection, fear of being alone. Many people continue to allow themselves to be used because they are afraid that if they stop giving, they will no longer be needed. But the truth is, the right people will never leave you just because you set boundaries. The wrong ones will, and that's exactly what needs to happen. Another key element of knowing your worth is self-love. When you truly love yourself, you stop tolerating disrespect. You stop engaging in one-sided relationships. You stop feeling guilty for putting yourself first. Loving yourself means understanding that you are just as important as the people you serve. It means acknowledging that your energy and well-being matter. And when you embrace this, you naturally begin to attract people who respect and value you. Knowing your worth is not about arrogance. It's not about superiority. It's about having a deep, unshakable understanding that you deserve to be treated with kindness, respect, and appreciation. It's about recognizing that you are not responsible for making everyone happy at the expense of your own well-being. It's about standing firm in your value, even when others try to diminish it. People who know their worth don't allow themselves to be used. They don't waste energy on relationships that drain them. They don't let guilt manipulate them into overextending themselves. Instead, they surround themselves with people who appreciate them, who pour into them just as much as they pour into others. They operate from a place of abundance, knowing that they don't have to sacrifice themselves to be loved or respected. When you begin to see yourself differently, the world begins to respond differently to you. The moment you stop seeking validation from those who don't appreciate you is the moment you take back your power. The moment you start demanding respect is the moment you set a new standard for how you allow yourself to be treated. Learn to say no. No is one of the most powerful words you will ever use, yet for so many people, it is one of the hardest words to say. They avoid it, they hesitate, they feel guilty. They worry about what others will think, how they will react, or whether they will be disappointed. But the inability to say no is one of the biggest reasons people get used, manipulated, and drained. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't serve you, you are saying no to yourself. No to your peace, no to your well-being, no to your own priorities and goals. The reason so many people struggle with saying no is that they have been conditioned to believe that their worth is tied to their ability to please others. They feel responsible for keeping everyone happy. They fear rejection. They fear being seen as selfish. They have been taught that being a good person means always saying yes, always being available, always being accommodating. But the truth is, saying no is not selfish. Saying no is not cruel. Saying no does not make you a bad person. In fact, it is one of the most important acts of self-care and self-respect you can practice. When you learn to say no, you begin to set boundaries. You begin to protect your time and energy. You begin to prioritize your own needs without feeling guilt or shame. And the moment you start doing this, you start reclaiming control over your life. Saying no is not about being harsh or dismissive. It's about being intentional. It's about recognizing that your time is valuable, that your energy is limited, and that you have the right to decide where and how you invest yourself. Not everyone deserves access to you. Not every request deserves your yes. Not every person who asks for your help is entitled to it. The people who truly respect and appreciate you will not punish you for setting boundaries. They will not guilt trip you or try to manipulate you into saying yes. They will understand that your no is not a rejection of them, it's simply a choice to honor yourself. But those who have been using you, they will push back. They will try to make you feel bad. They will question why you've changed, why you're not as available as you used to be. And that's when you will know exactly who was in your life for the right reasons and who was there simply to take. Saying no is a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it might feel uncomfortable. You might feel guilty, but over time, you will realize that saying no is a form of freedom. It frees you from obligation. It frees you from guilt. It frees you from relationships that drain you. When you start saying no to the things that don't serve you, you create space for the things that do. You open yourself up to opportunities, relationships, and experiences that align with your values and your well-being. You stop living in a cycle of exhaustion and start living with purpose. The key to mastering the art of saying no is understanding that you don't owe anyone an explanation. You don't have to justify your decisions. A simple no is enough. You don't need to feel pressure to over-explain or soften your refusal. Your boundaries are valid, your choices are valid, and anyone who tries to make you feel otherwise does not deserve your energy. Set strong boundaries. Boundaries are not walls that keep people out. They are guidelines that protect your peace, your energy, and your well-being. Too many people go through life feeling exhausted, frustrated, and taken advantage of because they have never learned to set clear boundaries. They say yes when they want to say no. They allow others to dictate how they should feel, how they should act, and what they should tolerate. They convince themselves that being accommodating is the right thing to do, even when it comes at the expense of their own happiness. The problem is, when you don't set boundaries, you invite people to take more than they should. You teach them that your time is always available, your energy is unlimited, and your needs don't matter as much as theirs. You become the person everyone turns to when they need something, but the moment you need something in return, those same people are nowhere to be found. This happens not because people are inherently bad, but because you've shown them that you will always say yes, that you will always be there, that your needs come second to theirs. Setting boundaries is not about being rude or pushing people away. It's about creating a balance between giving and receiving, between helping others and protecting yourself. It's about recognizing that you are not responsible for fixing everyone's problems, that you are not obligated to be available at all times, and that your own needs matter just as much as anyone else's. The reason so many people struggle with setting boundaries is that they are afraid of how others will react. They worry that people will be upset, that they will be judged, or that they will lose relationships. And the truth is, some people won't like it when you start setting boundaries. The ones who benefited from your lack of limits, the ones who were used to having access to you without restriction, will push back. They may try to make you feel guilty. They may accuse you of being selfish. They may question why you have changed. But none of that means you are doing something wrong. When you first start setting boundaries, it may feel uncomfortable. You may feel the urge to over-explain or soften your stance. But the more you practice, the more natural it becomes. Boundaries are not about controlling others. They are about controlling how you allow yourself to be treated. If someone consistently disrespects your time, your energy, or your emotions, it is your responsibility to enforce the boundary, not their responsibility to guess what you need. One of the most powerful ways to set boundaries is through communication. A boundary doesn't have to be aggressive or harsh. It can be as simple as saying, I can't take that on right now, or I need some time for myself. You don't have to justify your decisions. You don't have to provide a long explanation. A boundary is a statement of self-respect, and the right people will honor it. Another critical part of setting boundaries is learning to prioritize yourself without guilt. Many people have been conditioned to believe that putting themselves first is selfish. They have been taught that a good person is always available, always willing to help, always ready to sacrifice. But the reality is, when you neglect yourself for the sake of others, you end up feeling drained, resentful, and disconnected from your own needs. A lack of boundaries leads to burnout. It leads to relationships where you feel unappreciated, workplaces where you are overworked, and friendships where you are the only one making an effort. But when you set strong boundaries, you create relationships built on mutual respect. You show people that your time and energy are valuable. You attract people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can do for them. Boundaries are not about being unkind. They are about ensuring that kindness is not exploited. They are about knowing where to draw the line between generosity and self-sacrifice. The people who truly care about you will respect your boundaries. The people who push back against them were likely never in your life for the right reasons to begin with. Boundaries are a form of self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of every healthy relationship you will ever have. The stronger your boundaries, the stronger your sense of self-worth. The stronger your sense of self-worth, the less likely you are to allow yourself to be used, manipulated, or taken for granted. The moment you begin setting strong boundaries, you begin to reclaim control over your life. Recognize toxic relationships. Not everyone in your life is meant to stay. Some people come into your life to support you, to lift you up, to grow with you. Others come into your life to take, to drain, to use. The key to protecting your energy and your peace is learning to recognize the difference. Toxic relationships are not always obvious at first. They often start subtly with small demands, small manipulations, small compromises that seem harmless. But over time, those small things add up, and before you know it, you find yourself in a situation where you are constantly giving while receiving nothing in return. You find yourself walking on eggshells, trying to avoid conflict, trying to keep the other person happy at your own expense. A toxic relationship can take many forms. It can be a friend who only reaches out when they need something but disappears when you need support. It can be a partner who manipulates you into feeling guilty for setting boundaries. It can be a coworker who constantly takes credit for your hard work. It can be a family member who criticizes and belittles you, making you feel like you are never enough. The common thread in all toxic relationships is that they leave you feeling drained rather than fulfilled. They make you question your own worth. They make you feel responsible for someone else's happiness while neglecting your own. They create a cycle of emotional exhaustion where you give and give but never feel truly appreciated. Recognizing a toxic relationship is the first step to breaking free from it. The signs are always there if you are willing to see them. Do you feel anxious or uneasy around this person? Do they make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself? Do they take more than they give? Do they dismiss your feelings, invalidate your experiences, or make you question your own reality? One of the biggest traps of toxic relationships is the hope that things will change. Many people hold on for too long, convincing themselves that if they just try harder, if they just give more, if they just prove their worth, the other person will finally appreciate them. But toxic relationships do not change unless you change, unless you decide that you deserve better, unless you recognize that love, respect, and appreciation should not have to be earned through endless sacrifice. Walking away from a toxic relationship is not easy. It requires strength, it requires courage, it requires the willingness to put yourself first, even when it hurts. Some people will try to make you feel guilty for leaving. They will call you selfish. They will try to manipulate you into staying. But the truth is, you are not responsible for fixing people who refuse to change. You are not responsible for carrying relationships that weigh you down. Letting go of toxic relationships is not about holding resentment or seeking revenge. It is about reclaiming your peace. It is about choosing to surround yourself with people who uplift you rather than drain you. It is about understanding that you do not have to endure mistreatment just because you care about someone. The moment you recognize a toxic relationship for what it is, you regain your power. You begin to see that you deserve more. You begin to understand that real relationships, healthy relationships, do not require you to sacrifice your happiness. You begin to see that love, respect, and appreciation are not things you should have to fight for. Some people will never change no matter how much you give. Some relationships will never become healthy no matter how hard you try. And the sooner you recognize this, the sooner you can free yourself from the burden of trying to save those who are never willing to meet you halfway. Embrace self-love. When you truly love yourself, you stop seeking validation from people who don't appreciate your worth. You stop begging for approval, for attention, for scraps of affection from those who only take without giving in return. Self-love is the foundation of every decision you make, every boundary you set, every relationship you allow into your life. It is the voice inside you that reminds you that you are enough, that you deserve respect, that you do not have to prove your value to anyone. Too many people sacrifice their well-being just to be accepted, to feel wanted, to avoid being alone. But when you love yourself, you realize that your happiness is not dependent on someone else's approval. You stop compromising your needs to please others. You stop tolerating relationships that drain you. The way you treat yourself sets the standard for how others will treat you. The more you respect and value yourself, the less you will tolerate disrespect from those who do not see your worth. Surround yourself with the right people. The people you allow into your life influence your mindset, your energy, your self-worth. Some people lift you higher while others pull you down. The company you keep determines the quality of your life. If you surround yourself with people who respect you, who celebrate your victories, who encourage you to grow, you will thrive. But if you allow yourself to stay in relationships that make you feel small, that drain your energy, that make you doubt your own worth, you will struggle. The right people will never make you feel guilty for prioritizing yourself. They will never take advantage of your kindness. They will support you, challenge you, push you to be better without making you feel less. You have a choice in who you allow into your space. You are not obligated to maintain relationships that no longer serve you. Choose to be around those who see your worth, who respect your boundaries, who add value to your life rather than take from it. Let go of what no longer serves you. Holding on to people, relationships, or situations that drain you only keeps you stuck. Too often, people cling to what is familiar, even when it is harmful out of fear of change or loneliness. But letting go is not a loss. It is a gain. It is creating space for what you truly deserve. It is recognizing that you cannot grow while carrying the weight of relationships that no longer uplift you. When you release what no longer serves you, you reclaim your power. You stop making excuses for people who mistreat you. You stop settling for less than what you need. It may feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is temporary. Staying in a situation that diminishes your worth will cost you far more in the long run. Letting go is an act of self-respect. A statement that you refuse to be used, manipulated, or drained any longer. The moment you release what holds you back, you create room for what will lift you higher. Reclaim your power. Your life is yours to control. But when you allow others to dictate your happiness, your choices, and your worth, you give away your power. Too many people let fear, guilt, or obligation keep them stuck in situations where they are undervalued and unappreciated. But the truth is, no one has power over you unless you allow it. Reclaiming Reclaiming your power means deciding that you will no longer be used, that you will no longer accept less than you deserve. It means setting boundaries and enforcing them without apology. It means recognizing that you are not responsible for carrying relationships that weigh you down. It is a shift in mindset, a choice to put yourself first without guilt. When you take control of your life, you stop waiting for permission to be happy. You stop tolerating people who take advantage of your kindness. You realize that you are strong enough to walk away, strong enough to demand respect, strong enough to create a life where you are valued for who you are, not just for what you can give. Trust your intuition. Deep down, you always know when something isn't right. That feeling in your gut, that subtle unease, that quiet voice warning you, it's there for a reason. Too often, people ignore their intuition, convincing themselves that they are overreacting or being too sensitive. But your intuition is your greatest guide, your internal compass that protects you from harm. When you start trusting it, you stop second-guessing yourself. You recognize the red flags before they turn into regrets. You see through manipulation, dishonesty, and false intentions. Ignoring your intuition leads to being used, to staying in situations that drain you, to allowing people into your life who don't deserve to be there. But when you listen to it, you make decisions that honor your worth. You walk away from what doesn't feel right. You protect your peace. Your intuition will never mislead you. The key is having the courage to trust it. Choose yourself every time. Every choice you make is either bringing you closer to self-respect or further away from it. Too many people put themselves last, prioritizing others' needs while neglecting their own. But the most important decision you will ever make is to choose yourself. Choosing yourself doesn't mean being selfish. It means valuing your time, your energy, and your happiness enough to stop allowing people to take advantage of you. It means saying no when something doesn't serve you. It means walking away from relationships that drain you. It means standing firm in your boundaries, even when others push back. The moment you start choosing yourself, everything changes. You stop tolerating disrespect. You stop accepting less than what you deserve. You attract relationships that are built on mutual respect rather than one-sided sacrifice. You realize that your worth isn't determined by how much you do for others, but by how much you respect yourself. This is your life, your energy, your time, your power. And the second you decide that you are done being used, the second you set boundaries, the second you stop letting people drain you, you step into a whole new level of freedom. When you start loving yourself, you stop tolerating relationships that take more than they give. When you surround yourself with the right people, you stop feeling like you have to prove your worth. When you let go of what no longer serves you, you open the door to what truly does. And most importantly, when you choose yourself, when you trust your gut, when you finally say, I deserve more, guess what? You get more. The right people, the right opportunities, the right energy, it all starts flowing into your life because now you're living on your terms. So this is your moment. This is your wake-up call. You have the power. You have the choice. And starting today, you're never letting anyone use you again. If this hit home for you, if you're ready to step into your power, then make sure you hit that subscribe button because here on Tony Robbins' track, we are bringing you the mindset shifts that will change your life forever. Drop a comment below. What's one boundary you're setting starting today? Let's take back our power together. See you in the next one.